If you're over 60 and planning to fly in 2026, TSA and European border rules can now get you denied boarding, even if your ticket, meds, and passport all look perfect. Airlines will happily take your money, then refuse you at the gate over one tiny detail buried in the fine print. In this video, I'm going to show you the 8 ID and passport traps older travelers are falling into right now, so you don't lose thousands of dollars in one embarrassing conversation at the airport. Listen, TSA and border agencies just rolled out new ID and passport rules that are going to blindside a huge chunk of Thanksgiving travelers. And if you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond and planning to fly in 2026, what I'm about to share could be the difference between walking onto your dream vacation and being turned away right at the gate. You arrive at the airport thinking you've done everything right. You showed up 2 hours early. Your medications are in the original bottles. You even brought a note from your doctor. But buried in the fine print, starting January 1st, 2026, there are 8 major passport and ID rules in the US and in Europe that quietly punish anyone who hasn't kept up with every new update. I went through more than 200 complaints from older travelers and spoke with 3 retired TSA supervisors, and the same 8 traps kept coming up again and again. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to fix at home, so no one at TSA, the gate, or European border control can send you back. Rule number 3 is the one that gets more older travelers pulled aside than all the others put together, and most people don't even realize it's a rule. Alright, let's start with number 8. Rule Chair 8, the fake passport expiration date. Here's what most travel agents never say out loud. The expiration date printed in your passport is not the real deadline for international travel. Say you book a trip to Thailand. Your passport expires March 15th. Your flight is January 10th. You look at it and think, more than 2 months left? I'm fine. At check-in, the agent stops you. Thailand requires your passport to be valid at least 6 months from your entry date. You explain you'll be back in 2 weeks. They don't care. Result: $2,400 in non-refundable tickets gone in one conversation. A lot of travelers in their 60s and 70s get caught by this. Dozens of countries now use some version of the 6-month rule. Much of Asia, parts of Africa, a few Caribbean islands. It's easy to miss if you're not glued to travel news. And renewing a passport isn't always a quick errand anymore. Getting to the office, standing in line, dealing with delays. It all takes more out of you than it did at 30. What to do? Check your passport right now. Add 6 months to your entry date and your return date. If it expires anywhere in that window, renew it. In the US, you can start at travel.state.gov. Processing takes about 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes longer in busy seasons, so don't wait until December for a January trip. Rule of thumb: your passport should be valid for 6 months after you get home, not just while you're traveling. The magic question when booking international trips: does this destination require 6 months of passport validity? Pro tip: take a photo of your passport's expiration date and set a phone reminder 10 months before it expires. That gives you a calm 2-month buffer to renew without panic. Rule NIRCA 7, the invisible damaged passport. And passport expiry is still the easy problem compared to what happens when your passport looks brand new and the system decides it's damaged. Immigration officers told me off the record. They're now rejecting passports for damage you can't even see. Your passport looks fine. Clean cover, smooth pages, clear photo, but you've built one habit: folding it and sliding it into your back pocket because you don't like carrying a separate wallet. At the gate for your London flight, the agent scans it. Error. Tries again. Error. Sir, the RFID chip isn't reading. This passport is damaged. You say, but it looks new. On the outside, yes. Inside, the chip is dead. One missed flight and about $1,600 in rebooking fees later, the point hits home. Inside the cover is a tiny antenna. Fold it enough times and it cracks. The chip dies even if the passport still looks brand new. Seniors keep passports for years and don't always inspect them. And weaker eyesight makes small ripples, water stains, or peeling plastic easy to miss. From 2026, more countries will push you through e-gates that rely on that chip. If it won't scan, the system treats your passport as broken, not borderline okay. What to do? Never fold or roll your passport and stop carrying it in your back pocket. Keep it flat in a wallet, document pouch, or hard shell holder. If your eyes aren't great, ask your kids or grandkids to check it under good light. If your photo is badly faded or you look very different now, renew early. If you're already at the counter and the chip fails, one calm line works far better than arguing. I'd like to request manual processing, and I'll replace this passport after this trip. Rule Number 6. Real ID versus real life. This is the one catching a lot of seniors off guard, even on simple trips to see family. Since May 2025, TSA has been tightening real ID checks, and by 2026, they're enforcing it hard. A grandmother shows up for a short domestic flight to visit her grandkids. She hands over her driver's license, the same one she's used for years. The TSA agent looks at it and says, "Ma'am, this doesn't have the real ID star. Do you have your passport?" She didn't bring it. It's a flight inside the US. Why would she? They send her to secondary screening. 45 minutes of questions, extra checks, full pat-down. They finally let her through, but her flight is gone. Another few hundred to rebook. Why does this hit people over 60 so hard? Because many seniors still use old licenses they got years ago, with no little gold or black star in the corner. They don't fly often. They don't follow every TSA update. And getting to the DMV, standing in line, or driving across town isn't as easy as it used to be. In 2026, more checkpoints will simply treat those old licenses as not good enough and push seniors into long, exhausting identity checks or extra paid verification through systems like Clear or online Confirm ID tools. What to do? Check your license right now. Look at the upper right corner. If there's no star, that license is not Real ID compliant. For flights, you'll need either a Real ID license or your passport. Best move if you're over 60 and fly at least once or twice a year. Use your passport as your main ID for flying, even on domestic trips. TSA accepts it everywhere, and you don't have to worry about whether your state has caught up with Real ID yet. Rule Number 5. Europe's new fingerprint and face scan gauntlet. Here's where it starts to feel a little invasive. Starting October 12, 2025, Europe rolls out the new entry-exit system. By April 10, 2026, it's mandatory at almost every Schengen border. A 75-year-old couple from Seattle lands in Paris for their 50th anniversary trip. They expect a quick passport stamp. Instead, they're sent to a kiosk. Place your fingers here. Look at the camera. The husband has arthritis. His fingers won't sit flat. The machine fails once, twice, 6 times. By the time they clear immigration, they've missed their train to Provence and pay $200 to rebook. Why? Because under the new ETIAS system, Europe now takes your face photo and 4 fingerprints every time you enter or leave the Schengen zone. If you're older, walk slowly, use a cane or wheelchair, or have shaky, stiff hands. That process simply takes longer. What to do? Arrive at European airports about 30 minutes earlier than you used to. If you have arthritis or hand tremors, tell the officer right away. They have procedures for medical issues, but they only use them if you speak up. Once you're in the system the first time, future entries are usually faster. If you're connecting in Europe, build in at least 90 minutes. Skip tight 45 to 60-minute layovers. If you're over 60 or don't move quickly, one slow biometric line plus a long walk between gates is all it takes to miss your flight. If you're traveling with a spouse, register together on your first entry so you stay in the same queue later. The magic phrase. If the scanner can't read your fingerprints, I have a medical condition with my hands, so my fingerprints are hard to scan. Is there an alternative process? Rule Hunter 4, ET. Yes, Europe's no boarding without permission rule, and Europe still isn't done. If you think fingerprints are annoying, wait until you hear about the new pre-approval you'll need before you even leave the US. Most seniors don't even know this exists. For trips in late 2026 and beyond, Americans and other visa-exempt travelers will need IT approval before flying to most of Europe. No ETEs, no boarding, even if your passport is perfectly valid. Picture this. You've booked a dream river cruise in Europe. Passport ready, tickets printed, bags packed. At check-in, the agent asks, "Do you have your ETIAS authorization?" You've never heard of it. They can't check you in. You jump on airport Wi-Fi, rush through an online form, pay the fee, and hope it's approved in time. For some travelers, that means hours of waiting, a missed flight, and hundreds of dollars gone on rebooking and lost hotel or cruise days. Why this is risky for seniors? ETIAS is Europe's version of an online pre-screen, like the US ESTA. Most approvals are quick, but some can take up to 96 hours. If you're over 60, standing at the airport under that kind of stress is the last thing your body needs. And if your kids booked the trip, it's easy for everyone to assume passport is enough and forget ETIASs completely. What to do? Apply for ETIASs at least 1 week before your flight. Earlier, if you like to move slowly, use the official EU website and let someone you trust help. If online forms aren't your thing, it's valid for 3 years or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. If you get a new passport, you need a new ETIAS. After approval, print the confirmation, save a copy on your phone, and email it to yourself. Rule of thumb, think of ETIAS as Europe's TSA pre-check. You apply once, then use it for multiple trips, but it's tied to your passport number. So, a new passport means a new application. Don't let a missing ETIAS turn your dream European vacation into a full day of airport stress. Rule number Nutri: the digital ID trap. This one is catching a lot of seniors by surprise. TSA now accepts digital IDs in Apple Wallet and Google Wallet. Sounds great. No wallet, no plastic card. But here's the trap. A tech-savvy grandfather was so proud he'd added his digital driver's license to his iPhone all by himself. At O'Hare, he confidently held up his phone at security. The scanner beeped red. The agent said, "Sir, we don't accept digital IDs at this checkpoint. Do you have your physical license?" He didn't. His state had advertised the digital ID as TSA approved. So, he left the real card at home. After 30 minutes of questions and a supervisor call, they finally cleared him. But his boarding window was gone and the flight was already closed. Seniors get burned by this because they trust that TSA-approved label and don't always see the fine print that it's a caddy only valid at select airports and lanes. And standing through surprise secondary screening is far more tiring in your 60s and 70s. One dead battery, one scanner glitch, or one skeptical agent is all it takes if you don't have the physical card. What to do? Always carry your physical ID, license, or passport, even if you have a digital one. Treat digital ID as backup, not replacement. If your state offers it, go ahead and add it to Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, but still bring your wallet. Keep your phone charged and your screen brightness up before you reach TSA. The magic move. If your digital ID fails, immediately say, "I have my physical ID as backup," and hand it over. Insider move. Take a clear photo of the front of your physical ID and store it in a password-protected note or secure app. It's not an official ID, but if you ever lose your wallet or passport, that image can speed up verification. Rule number 2. Medically necessary liquids that still get thrown away. This is the one TSA doesn't shout about, but it hits seniors the hardest. On paper, liquid medications over 3.4 ounces are allowed through security if they're medically necessary and if you declare them. In real life, very different story. Say you pack an 8 liquid fiber supplement in your carry-on. At screening, an agent pulls your bag aside. "Ma'am, this exceeds the liquid limit." You explain, "I take this every day. It's my medication." They ask, "Do you have documentation?" You had no idea you needed any. They confiscate the bottle. $28 gone. And the next 3 days of your cruise are spent constipated, exhausted, and miserable instead of enjoying yourself. Here's what's really going on. TSA has a medical exemption for liquid medications, medical solutions, and some liquid supplements over 3.4 ounces. But that exemption only really works if you someone declare them up front and let them test them. If you leave it buried in your bag, the scanner flags it. An officer pulls it out, sees a mystery bottle over the limit with no declaration and no paperwork, and the easiest move is to throw it away. What to do? Separate all liquid medications over 3.4 ounces before security. Put them in a small zip bag or pouch. As you approach the X-ray belt, say clearly, "I have medically necessary liquids to declare." They'll usually place the bag in a bin, maybe run a quick test, and you're done in about 30 seconds. Bring proof when you can. A prescription label with your name, a doctor's note, the original bottle showing your name and dosing. It's not always required, but if you meet a strict officer, that label is your shield, especially if you're older and truly cannot go a few days without that medication. Rule of thumb, if it's a liquid over 3.4 ounces and you need it for medical reasons, prescription, supplement, or even over-the-counter stuff you rely on daily, declare it. The magic phrase, if an agent starts to push back, these are medically necessary liquids exempt under TSA guidelines. Pro tip, print the TSA page on medical liquids from tsa.gov. Fold it and keep it in your medication bag. Seniors who do this say the conversation instantly gets smoother when they can point to the rule in writing. Rule number 1, the blank passport pages rule. The silent trip killer. This is the silent trip killer, and it hits seniors the hardest. You can have years left before your passport expires and still be denied boarding at the gate. All it takes is not having enough empty space inside that little blue book. Many countries quietly require 1 to 4 completely blank pages, often 2 side by side for visas and entry-exit stamps. If you don't have the right kind of blank pages, the airline can refuse to board you, even if your passport looks perfect and doesn't expire for years. That's how people lose thousands of dollars in non-refundable tickets in a single conversation. Seniors are at higher risk because you tend to keep the same passport for many years, collecting stamps and visas without really counting pages. Weaker eyesight and memory make it easy to miscount or miss half-used pages. And with U.S. passports, you can't add pages anymore. If the book is full, you must renew, meaning more paperwork, more waiting, more logistics. What to do? Open your passport and check it today. Count how many pages are totally blank. No stamps, no scribbles, nothing. Look carefully to see if you have at least 2 blank pages in a row. If you're under 4 blank pages total, start planning a renewal, especially if you've got a longer trip with multiple stops. One big itinerary can eat those last pages fast. Don't forget the grandkids' passports if they're coming with you. Child passports only last 5 years and fill up quickly, so they're more likely to be expired or out of space sooner than you think. Smart habit. When you get a new passport, take a photo of the first page and the last page and save it on your phone. After each big trip, flip through and see how many fresh pages you've used. When the book is about halfway full, start working on renewal and let your kids or grandkids help with the online forms. If tech isn't your thing, the magic question when booking international trips: does this destination require a minimum number of blank passport pages? It takes 10 seconds to ask, but it can save you a vacation worth several thousand. In the end, these 8 rules aren't here to scare you. They're the cheapest insurance you can have. A bit of prep now, so after 60, your energy goes into enjoying the trip, not arguing with airport staff at the gate. If you made it this far, you're already doing more than most travelers your age ever will. You now know the traps that cost seniors the most money, the most energy, and the most sleep before a big trip. Take 10 minutes after this video, grab your passport, your license, and your meds, and run through these checks while everything is still fresh. Your future self at the airport will thank you. If this helped you feel even a little more in control, tap like so. YouTube shows it to more travelers over 60 who need it. Tell me in the comments which rule surprised you the most, or which one you've already run into at TSA or immigration. And if you want more step-by-step senior-friendly travel guides from carry-on tricks to new baggage and seating rules, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You've worked too hard to let one missing page or one forgotten form ruin your trip. Let's make sure your next flight is spent in the air, not arguing at the gate.